Magandang gabi po mga katipon sa Pilipinas. Ito po ang ating Katipunan. Muling sumasa inyo mga tagapakinig upang magbigay ng mahahalagang impormasyon, magbigay liwanag at higit sa lahat ay makinig sa inyong mga daing at puro-puro hinggil sa mga problemang patuloy na nagpapahirap sa ating kalagayan at kabuhayan. Sa susunod na 2 oras, sisikapin po namin ipaliwanag ang iba't ibang bahagi ng ekonomiya at mga mabibigat na local at international issues na may malaking epekto sa ating buhay at kinabukasan. Ito po ang inyong katipon na si Cathy Cruz. Of course, naatay lang po natin si Professor Butch Valdes. Kasama pa rin natin si Itos Valdes at iba pang mga katipon mula sa Save the Nation Movement, Philippine LaRouche Society at sa Partido Politikal ng Katipunan ng Demokratikong Pilipino. Of course, narito si Ver sa ating technical sa Katipunan Channel at si Cruz mula pa rin sa himpilan ng DZXL na nag-aanyaya sa inyo na makibahagi sa ating talakayan sa pagsusuri ng mga kasulukuyang problema at paghahanap ng kaukulang solusyon. Magandang hapon, ay magandang gabi, Itos. Magandang hapon no? Magandang gabi, Itos.
Hi, hello. Sa mga kasama natin dito sa ating Katipunan. Dito naman tayo 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Kasama si Cathy, si Ver, at iba pang ang ating mga loyal Zoomsters yung sumusunod sa atin, di ba, Cathy? Good evening po sa inyo lahat, and hopefully you'll join us for the whole 2 hours. Thank you po.
Thank you, Itos. And of course, kasama pa rin po natin ang si Johnny Ventosa mula sa Zoom. At inaantay lang po natin ang iba pa nating mga katipon mula sa Zoom. At sa lahat po ng mga nanonood po ngayon sa pamamagitan ng social media accounts ng Katipunan Channel. At tayo po ay sabayang napapakinggan sa pamamagitan po ng radyo Armen DZXL 558 sa talapihitan po ng inyong mga radyo tuwing araw po ng linggo alas 7 hanggang alas 9 po ng gabi. At syempre, katuwang pa rin natin ang ating mga technician mula dyan sa himpilan ng DZXL at dito sa ating Katipunan Channel, sina Cruz at Ver Archivido. Okay, at nako, ano ba ang mainit na talakayan ngayon?
Hindi, I wanted to start. Napaisip ako kasi last night, yung crossfire program ni Chairman Butch, tatay ko po, si Ado, tsaka si Rita Gadi dito sa ating Katipunan Facebook. Usually yan, mga 5 to 5:30 to about 6:30 every Saturday. So, tinanong ko kaninang lunchtime ko ano yung topic nila kasi hindi ako nakapanood. No? And their topic was about yung Maharlika Fund nga, yung gusto nilang gawing fund na required mag-donate yung mga GSIS and SSS and all of our social security na dito sa fund para makapaglaro sila. Investment daw pero lalaro lang sila sa stock market. Yung kikita dyan yung money manager at yung kung sino man yung nangumisyon. And then syempre, again, the topic went to Ben Diokno, yung ating Secretary Diokno, who has been there and helping different administrations for the past years. So napaisip ako bakit, and yung paboritong secretary ni chairman yan si Ben Diokno, di ba? Si paborito niya. So, and it got me thinking na parang wala na, kasi sabi yung criticism ni chairman, wala kasing ibang maisip o magawa si Ben Diokno in terms of raising money or helping the economy move forward except through these kinds of schemes, no? So yung tatanong natin, sadya ba yan or halatang wala talagang alam si Ben Diokno, diba? Either you're a fool or you're a liar, right? So hindi pwedeng both. So well, yung iba, bobo na nga, sinungaling pa. So, pwede rin, di ba? Pero yung si Benjok, no, either, alam niyang ginagawa niyang mali, pero gagawin pa rin niya. Hindi. So, assume na natin, dahil maraming degree si Benjok, no, na alam naman niyang ginagawa niya. Pero bakit yun lang ang itinutulak ever since he got into office? Over decades ago serving in government. And as a professor of economics and what have you, no? And bakit lahat sila, tila, lahat ng mga ina-appoint na mga tao sa Central Bank, sa NEDA, sa Department of Treasury, lahat parang ganun mag-isip. And the proponents of the Maharlika Fund, ganun rin mag-isip. Yung proponents, yung nanunulak dyan sa Kongreso, si Kimbo, yan, si Joey Salceda, all of these so-called geniuses, yung mga eksperto sa finance na maraming degree from mga great universities.
Wala ka, Sir Itos.
In and abroad, marami silang degree. So tila iisa ang kanilang pag-iisip na ganito lang ang gagawin nila. And if you look at the history of their policies, kailangan kasama sa mga schemes nila or kasama sa mga itinutulak nilang batas o itinutulak nilang policies ang population control. Kasama diyan. So hindi pwedeng parang yun lang ang nire-recommend nila. As if now, yung solving the population problem is yung punot dulo at yan yung pinakamalaking problema. Ngayon, lahat sila is iisa lang yung tema. Masyado tayong maraming tao, okay? Therefore, pag masyado maraming tao, maraming kailangan na goods na kailangan, marami silang kakainin. Marami silang ko-consume na electricity at tubig. Right? Therefore, yung nila, since marami silang gagawin ganyan, tsaka limited yung mga resources natin, bawasan na lang nila yung tao. Exactly. Yan lang ang solusyon nila since forever. Yan ang training nila. Yan ang pinag-aralan nila. Diyan sila nakakuha ng 4 sa college, 'di ba? Or 1.0 sa UP, 'di ba? Or yan ang grade nila. Yan ang mga degree nila pag nagma-masteral sila, doctorate nila. Pag yan ang thesis nila, yan ang pinaka-basic thinking, they will get high grades. And they will be hired by the World Bank, the UN, and also bakit ganon? So there seems to be a worldwide policy along those lines na depopulate. Kailangan turuan natin yung buong population ng mundo na masama yung maraming tao.
Correct.
Okay? Kasi yan ang tinuturo sa high school ngayon in economics. Yan ang tinuturo sa kolehiyo ngayon na masyado na maraming tao. Right? Tapos, pag masteral at degree, there's no economist today. Parang I am almost 100% sure. There is no economist today that is going against the notion that the world is overpopulated. Lahat sila agree daw doon.
That's true, Sir Itos. Totoo yan, Sir Itos, kasi ako, I've been covering since 2006, I think. Noong 2006, hindi ko pa kilala si Professor Butch noon. And I was one of the media practitioners that time when I was invited in a training of population control, mga national population studies, etc. Meron pang ibang tawag dun sa Sir Itos. And then this media practitioner, yun ang ini-inject sa amin that ang paglaki raw ng populasyon ay mabilis, at dahil mabilis siya, kaya nagre-resulta raw ito ng paghihirap ng bansa at kumukonte yung hindi nakakayanan ng produce natin daw na pagkain,
Right.
iba pang mga pangangailangan ng tao, no? And
Right.
then later on, nung nakilala ko si Professor Butch in 2010, doon ko lalong naintindihan what is economics. Malaki pala kasi dati-dati pag economics na, ayoko na yan, subject na yan.
Correct.
Kasi parang ang hirap-hirap intindihin. Kasi puro mga highfalutin words and kung ano-ano mga presentation graphs ang pinapakita sa amin. Nang parang pakiramdam ko, sinasadya yata nilang hindi namin maintindihan. Diba? And nung time na si Professor Butch na yung nagturo sa amin about economics, ang connection niya sa buhay ng tao, ay napakadali lang pala intindihin ng economics at kung paano masusustain ng tao na bagamat marami siya, kakayanin ka pa rin niyang pakainin at kakayanin pa rin niyang ibigay lahat ng mga needs mo. Not just because of the resources, but because of the science and technology that you can apply. And most of our scientists, pag nakakausap mo, Sir Itos, even now, may mga scientists tayo na ganun mag-isip. Ang problema, pag kontra siya talaga pagdating sa mga finance officers natin. Kontra talaga siya pagka joke na yung kausap mo. Because all these farmers and all these scientists, mga researchers, talagang sinasabi nila na importante ang tao sa pag-unlad ng bansa. Kasi importante raw yun, kinakailangan daw alagaan mo siya from pagkabata, ihubog mo siya kung saan mo dadalhin yung ating bansa. At sabi nga ng mga scientista natin na mahuhusay, in fact, they are balik scientists today, sabi nilang ganon, kakayanin naman daw nating mga Pilipino ang mabuhay. Kaya lang kinakailangan merong mga dapat i-correct. At mali yung notion na sinasabi nila na pag konti ang tao, mas kakayanin daw na buhayin. And that's a very wrong idea, sabi nga ng ibang mga scientists natin. Kasi meron tayong science and technology, we can quadruple the produce agricultural products sa ating bansa. At marami pang iba, yung put-up industries.
Correct.
Just like,
You're right, Kath. I have to interject, no? That is the notion, that is the thinking that seems to escape yung ating mga leaders. Na I don't think it's deliberate, hindi sila meaning hindi sila sincere in trying to find ways, meaning alam nila na there's something wrong and people will have to die because the population. Pero yun lang ang nasa utak nila because yun lang ang kaya nilang, yun lang ang tinuro nila, yun lang ang nasa utak nila. So naglalaro lang sila within that way of thinking. And if you think outside that, kumbaga, si chairman, kung ngayon bumalik siya sa college, nag-aral siyang economics, tapos yan ang sabihin niya, sigurado babagsak siya.
Sigurado.
Diba? Siguradong bagsak yan because hindi ka ipapasa ng UP School of Economics kung ganyan ka mag-isip. Understand? Fail ka yan. Sasabihin mo, hindi naman totoo yung Adam Smith na survival of the fittest. Hindi naman totoo yung tinatawag natin na scarce resources. Hindi naman totoo yun because science and humanity takes away the scarceness. Dumadami yung pagkain dahil in-apply mo ng science. Kung hunting and gathering, yun yung pinaka-basic na, kumbaga, nung panahon mo, Kat, yung wala pa tayong mga technology, di ba? Yung mga ganon. Loko lang. Tinatawag nila hunting and gathering. So yung tao, mag-isip po tayo, yung mga ancestor natin, yung nakatira sa mga kuweba, okay? Early man. Paano sila nabubuhay? Right? So, hunting and gathering. Ibig sabihin, lalabas sila, di ba? Maghahanap ng prutas, right? Magagather ng prutas, babalik sa kuweba, kakain sila. Tapos pag nagutom ulit, lalabas ulit. Minsan may manok dyan, nakita nila, o may ibon, o may itlog, kunin nila yan, pabalik nila doon. Now, how much of, how big a population do you think can that support? Diba? Siguro mga 10, sobra ka ng overpopulated, considered. Kasi yun lang ang kaya ng mode of economy at that time. Right? So, tapos, minsan, lumalabas yung mga lalaki, hanap ng pagkain, 5 sila, 3 na lang babalik kasi kinain ng tigre o kinain ng leon, di ba? Di ba? Ganoon naman ang buhay dati. Correct? So, that's what you call the hunting and gathering society. So, ganun si yung mankind. Now, the difference is, ganun rin naman yung mga, di ba, hayop. Di ba? Hunting and gathering lang sila eh. Kita mo yung mga leon, yung mga wolves, yung mga ganun. Pag gutom lang sila, saka sila mag-hunting. Pag nakahuli sila, kain sila ng marami. Tapos, hindi na sila gagalaw until gutom ulit sila. So, para tayong hayop at that time. But the difference is, mankind discovered scientific principles. So, na-discover niya, pag itong gulay pala, pag nabasa at na ganon. So, palawigin natin to, papalaguhin natin to. Kuha tayo ng seeds, tapos dito tayo, pwede pala to. Tapos tuloy-tuloy na. Now, hindi na sila kailangan lumayo. Meron na silang maliit na garden, maliit na silang ganyan. So yan ang kakainin nila. Of course, yung walang protina, gulay lang. Vegetarian silang lahat. Wala naman silang choice, 'di ba? Kasi yung protein kakainin sila, 'di ba? So, pag-hunting ka na malaking hayop, kakainin ka pa ng oso, 'di ba? So, vegetarian ka by trade or fruit. Pero later on, you develop a system. Tapos ngayon, lumalaki yung population mo kasi mas marami ka nang pwedeng pakainin. Right? And so forth and so on. And then you discover fire. You discover energy. So pag malamig, nabubuhay ka. Dati namamatay ka lang kasi wala kang source of heat. Thus you discover those things, right? So that's the progress of man. And then later on, a new form of energy. And then when you discover new things, chemistry, irrigation, yan, lumalaki at lumalaki. And then you can support population. Yan po, that is the basis of any economic thinking. That should be the basis, not money, not sovereign wealth fund, not like that. It's what the population needs to survive. That is the basic economic principle. Yun lang yun. So I think Johnny Ventosa is...
Oo, Johnny Ventosa, mukhang may itatanong sa'yo, Itos. Go ahead, Sir Johnny.
Itos, I agree with you. The point is that I think that the real reason for the population has nothing to do with the survival of the people. They want to depopulate the world,
right?
Because the new world order wants to minimize any more how do you call this? The less people, the better control they have of the world.
Right.
This is what they have to understand. It has nothing to do with food. We won't go hungry.
Yes.
This world has enough for everybody.
Correct.
I don't know. And the people, they don't realize it. They don't read it. What's happening?
Right. It's again, thank you, Johnny. Sorry, are you done? Sorry.
Yes, I am.
Okay. I'd like to react to that, Cass, kung okay lang. Again, jumping off from yung sabi ni ating kaibigan si Johnny, no? Yes. So it seems, knowing these basic principles, yung pinaka-basic economic principles, an economy should be organized around how to support a growing number of people. That's what it is. There are no economic laws that the economic rules and economic laws are designed by man, and therefore man can change it to suit whatever his needs are to grow. So I just wanted to jump up. Sabi nga, na-mention na nga ni John, going back to yung mga policy makers natin, our finance, our experts, our bankers, our economists, our academe, and our leaders, trained in the best schools in the world. They can show you all their degrees. Pero iisa lang yung ano nila, masyadong maraming tao. Okay. This is not new thinking, and this is not a new kind of economic thought, because again, as Johnny mentioned nga, since then there has been a battle between two schools of thought. One is that man is created in the image and likeness of God, and therefore endowed with the abilities and skills to survive and flourish through his creative reason. The other is that a man is just another beast, and therefore the rules of nature should apply to him, and therefore we should know that man cannot go beyond and apply creative reason. So those two schools of thought. In the times of the kings and queens, dun sa royalty, tsaka yung sa mga emperors and empress in Asia, tapos in the West, it's the kings and queens. Definitely, the way the society was organized, sila yung hari, the rest serve him. Correct? Now, as mankind develop, new schools of thought, as man will want to do, kasi mankind nag-iisip talaga eh, kasi endowed with creative reason by the Creator. He is always wondering what is better, what is a better system. And therefore, they came up with the different kinds of systems that are against fundamentally what the oligarchical or the monarchical way of thinking is. And therefore, in history, lumabas yung the United States was born out of the Declaration of Independence, which is a break. There have been efforts in France, in Netherlands, in Europe, and even in Asia, the efforts of Rizal and our patriots to break from the oligarchical system and to have freedom to determine their own sovereign path, right? So throughout history, that has been a battle. You can say of those who think that man is just another beast, and therefore should be policed or treated as such. And on the other side, that man is a creative being endowed with the creative reason, and therefore has the freedom and determination and will to chart his own sovereign path. Now, recently, sabi ko, napaisip ako kasi I was looking at, siyempre we always look at history, no? Napaisip ako na mention in one of the discussions before Crossfire dito lang sa bahay, kasama po si Ado and si Rita with chairman, na mention yung Population Commission during Marcos. Okay? Now, the Population Commission was designed and pushed in the United Nations in 1967. And I'm on the website of the population, popcom.gov.ph. It's the official site. So in 1967, 17 heads of state, including Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos, signed the United Nations Declaration of Population, which stressed that the population problem must be recognized as a principal element in long-range planning if governments are to achieve their economic goals and to fulfill the aspirations. Now, when these are nice words, but what it really means is they were going to push, this is in 1967, they were preparing the world for a depopulation drive. Okay, in 1970, the population, the National Population Program was launched. 1970 through Executive Order 233. The Commission on Population was mandated to serve as the central coordinating and policy-making body of the government in the field of population. Why do you care about the population insofar as controlling it or managing it, right? You shouldn't. But the fact is, it was imposed on all of these nations. And we were one of the principal signers on for this. In 1971, it was enacted into law by Congress, and then in 1972, Republic Act 6365 strengthened the population program, directing public and private sectors to undertake national family planning program, which was which respects the religious beliefs and values. Pero ipupush ng gobyerno, in other words, ipupush ng gobyerno in 1972 yung family planning. Remember, 1972 also was martial law. Okay? And in 1971 or 72, around that time, the world, the context was they shifted. They were planning to shift the world from a fixed exchange rate, Bretton Woods, to a floating exchange rate system. So this is para siyang one effort, worldwide effort to implement certain policies. In effect, it became a fascist move during the 70s. Also in the 70s, they implemented a fake oil crisis. Okay? Yung OPEC daw, ayaw na mag-produce. So biglang tumaas lahat man. So sabay-sabay ito ang nangyari. In-implement nito ng mga bankero ng mundo. The elites. Headquartered in London and New York. And they all talked and they said, let's implement this. Let's put the world into this kind of system right away. And sa atin, because of the economic strife and because of the economic problems that we were experiencing, Marcos was forced to declare martial law. But during this declaration of martial law, he also started to implement the National Family Planning Program. Okay? And so on and so forth until 1975. Okay? So Presidential Decree 166 further strengthened the program. So every how many years in-strengthen pa. In other words, nilalagay sa ating mga batas, ating mga agencies as part of their mandates to promote population control and to manage population. So it's very deeply ingrained in our whole government. That kind. Each agency has that. Very, very scheming and sinister itong mga lokon to. They were able to put it there. So, and they were mandated, each agency was mandated to formulate their own population programs for approval, for budget. Ganyan ka-sinister yan. So in 86, the POPCOM was put under DSWD. And then under the Aquino administration, the POPCOM board says the ultimate goal of the population program is the improvement of the quality of life in a just and humane society. Okay? The achievement of this goal requires a recognition of the close interrelationships among population, resources, and environmental factors. This was in 86. Yes, Johnny, you wanted to say something. I think you're muted, Johnny.
I can see now why it's so ingrained in the government. But it appears that the whole government was fooled by the elite of the world.
Mm. Mm.
We
Yes.
were fooled because
Yes.
if that was the truth, that population control would help the world. Has that population decreased? I don't think it has. And
Yeah.
yet we're feeding a lot of people.
Right.
And then secondly, what were they doing? They were going around with chemtrails and GMO and all that,
Mm.
precisely to make sure that the people will go hungry, that the people will get affected by all this GMO, etc., and
Mm.
die. I
Right.
mean, to me, all you have to do is read the little and you realize what's going on. But they're so hooked. They still believe that they have the power. And they're,
Right.
I don't know, they're
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
amen
So
na lang sila. Amen na
yeah.
amen.
Yeah. Tama. So but I'll continue. In 87, sabi nila, now they're putting it in 87 is the first time they put it, well, here in the Philippines, that the population there is a direct relationship to the environment. Okay? So pinasok na nila tong idea na to. Okay? But this is just, I'm on their website, ha? Ito yung history nila. I'm not reading some secret document. This is in their website po. Punta kayo sa popcom.gov.ph, you look at the history, it's said there. And this is just summary. So now, in 1990, they put the PopCom under the Office of the President. So lahat ng programs and implementation coordination. Okay, in 1991, it became the attached agency of the NEDA, National Economic and Development Authority. Okay. Okay. The administration of Ramos in 1993 adopted the Philippine Population Management Program as part of the framework of his administration. Okay. Now, the Estrada government in 1999 reformulated it as responsible parenthood. Okay. In 2003, President Gloria Arroyo put the PopCom, attaching it to the Department of Health. Okay. So then they supported President Gloria Arroyo in 2005. Okay, said the community of nations in expressing support for the International Conference of Population and Development. The statement also reiterated the principles that the Philippine government will support this program. The principles are based on 4 pillars of responsible parenthood. Pillars of responsible parenthood, respect for life, birth spacing, and informed choice. So you see the double speak. So sabihin nilang respect for life, pero bibigyan nilang contraceptives. Health services, including reproductive health services, are devolved by the local government code to the local government units. So it was put down. The rollout po nila by 2005 to all local government units. Okay? To enable them to exercise responsible parenthood. In 2006, Gloria Arroyo issued guidelines for the DOH, PopCom, and local government to take full charge of the implementation of responsible parenthood and family planning program. Okay, so while LGUs can promote artificial family planning because of local autonomy, the national government advocates natural family planning. So that's just a brief history on the Population Commission. But you can see this one did not come from us. It came from the United Nations and came from the elite. Maalala po natin in 1974, lumabas yung National Security Studies Memorandum ni Henry Kissinger. And in that memorandum, sabi niya, delikado yung malaking population sa third world nations kasi kakailanganin nila ang resources nila. At since tayo ang gumagamit ng resources nila, pag malaki yung population dyan, mas unstable yung kanilang economy. Pag nagkagulo dyan, baka maantala yung ating shipment of resources. So kailangan mag-implement tayo ng population control program dyan sa mga third world nations. And this is the result. The POPCOM is a direct result. And all of our government agencies, all of our local governments are pushed to promote this by the Department of Health, by the National Economic and Development Authority, by the Finance Department, by the DTI. Everything is geared towards controlling your population. So all of this is present here, and we just wanted to dig a little deeper kung saan pa nag-umpisa to. And did it come from us? No nation, sabi nga ni ni Chairman, no nation can call itself a nation unless if it cannot feed its own people. Correct. Because as a strong and healthy and growing population is a hallmark of a sovereign nation on the path to real development. Otherwise, it just becomes a service nation. Tignan po natin, ano ba in the last 25 years, 30 years na nagawa ng Filipino? Nagawa po natin, na na-produce po natin at binenta sa mundo. Di ba yung tao lang natin na binibenta natin sa mundo? Tapos kinukuha natin yung salapi nila, yung kanilang earnings from OFW. At sinasabi natin, sila po yung bayani ng Di ba? Hindi ba aalis ba yan ng bansa kung may trabaho dito na mahusay? So the way you kill a nation, the way we were killed, our specific example was on all sides. You destroy the economy by wrong policies, by wrong. You put people in power, you put them in the leadership that will enact these stupid policies of depopulation and economic policies of free trade, deregularization, and globalization. And on the other side, you force them to send your people abroad for jobs. All of that done at the same time will destroy. We don't have a capability anymore to build our nation. And in fact, si Chairman nga always laments or malungkot siya kasi parang ito na nga nangyayari sa bansa pero yung mga tao natin parang ayaw na magrevolusyon, ayaw na magpalit ng government, ayaw na lumaban. Parang sobra na silang pagod at sobra na silang mahina and yung pag-iisip nila iba na. Hindi na yung parang to save the nation or to build the Philippines once again. Itong presidente natin, hindi po natin alam kung ano bang nasa isip niya ngayon eh. Definitely, it doesn't seem like he wants to build the nation according to the principles of his father at the very least, but even more, the principles that say, no, we need more Filipinos. We can feed more Filipinos. We can feed 3 times our population now with current technology, plus mag-export pa tayo. Kaya po natin yan. Hindi yan fantasya o hindi yan it's not something that's impossible. It's just the policies that we've decided to do. It's just the policies that we've decided to implement. It's just the people that have been put in place. Kita mo lahat ng senador na yan. Tanong nyo lang. Palagay nyo pag sinabi nyo, problema ba yung overpopulation? Sasabihin nila lahat, 100% yes. So susuportahan nila yung depopulation efforts. Now, with this, all of these things, sabi nga ni Bill Gates, di ba? Pag successful sila sa mga bakuna, di bababa yung world population ng 15%, di ba? Siya po yung presidente ng Gavi, the Global Alliance for Vaccines. Siya po yung biggest private donor sa WHO. Siya ang kumikita sa mga bakuna. And our DOH, our leadership, our DOILG, all of them, lahat sunod. That this is a program of depopulation, sabi ni Chairman from the beginning. This is what it is. And if this is what's being implemented now on a global scale, and many nations are fighting back, many countries are fighting back. Tayo parang hindi. Masaya na tayo, walang mask. Diba po? So this is what's happening. And I wanted to put that into context. Everything we see now, everything we read about in the papers, all the, or watch on TV po, or nakikinig tayo sa radyo, mga bali-balita. Tignan nyo po, ano ba yung intention, ano ba yung policy, ano bang gusto nilang mangyari. Because garantisado ko po, this is following the global policy of these elites, which was started long ago, even before World War II, then implemented after World War II, and in the Philippines has been here since the 70s. And it is part and parcel of the laws already. Nandun na siya sa ahensya. Kasama na yan sa mandato nila. Kailangan may programa kayo pang overpopulation. So I wanted to bring that out if you have any reactions to that. And all the economic policies, all the programs will not work because it is designed not to be successful, because you're not building anything. You're managing the finances on top of a rotting economy. Bulok na. Minamanage nyo lang yung itsura. Pa-konti-konti dito pa, hindi siya lumalago. Okay? At lahat ng mga kababayan natin, they will go abroad to seek greener pastures, pero miserable ang buhay nila doon. Mas gusto nila dito, kaya lang yung gobyerno natin, they don't want to change the policy. This is what we are now. This is what we've been doing now. And it's connected to the population, kahit ayaw nilang aminin. Everything is connected to the population. Cathy, do you have anything to add?
Naalala ko lang sa Itos, just the other day, kasi ang dami nating mga balik scientists, no? At alam mo ba na yung mismong balik scientist natin, nalulungkot siya kasi kumaga parang ang dami-daming opportunity sana ng ating bansa kung may industry at ang gobyerno mismo ang pumoprotekta sa ating mga mamamayan. Ang nagiging problema kaya minsan maraming mga scientista raw at mga Pilipino na lumalabas ng bansa dahil unang-una walang opportunity dito sa atin. Bukod sa walang opportunity, wala talagang makuhang suporta. Kaya minsan pikit mata sa Itos na ang ating mga kababayan ay lumalabas ng bansa. Kumbaga parang napakaano mo na lang, siguro sabi nga natin na yung mga nagbalik scientist, sabi nga nila, ang iniwanan daw nila sa iba yung dagat. Kumbaga parang kinumpara lang niya $20,000. Pumalik siya ng Pilipinas at 20,000 pesos. Dahil lang sa pagmamahal sa bayan para masimulan. Pero again, nanawagan sila, no, itong mga balik scientists natin, nanawagan talaga sila sa ating gobyerno na sana proteksyonan ang mga Pilipino, proteksyonan din yung hanay nila at tulungan talaga ng ating pamahalaan, Sir Itos. Mukhang may tanong kanina si Johnny Bentosa. Sir Johnny, nasan ka? Nawala yung camera mo. Sir Johnny, alam ko may tanong ka kanina, nagtaas ka ng kamay eh.
Meron din. No, I listened to Itos and really, I mean, very, very clear why. And I understand now why the government is so really blinded by it, no? But the point is that I really expected our president to have known all this. I really expected him to be aware of what was going on around the world. And when it is obvious that, I mean, he didn't, or he pretends not to have known. Because everything he's doing is really doing it. It's really, let's face it, it's really supporting the elite. I mean, I'm sorry, but I mean, that's the way I figure it out, no? Unless he's got a game of his own, but it's a dangerous game because he'll never make it. He's got to do it not this way anyway. He has to do it from the very start, not play with them and then move out. From the very start, say no. And that's my only. That's why I'm very disappointed. I'm very disappointed because I expected him to know a little more. And but he's behaving as if he doesn't or didn't know what's going on. And well, I guess we have to. Last night at the Crossfire, Ado said something very good. That's good. Let him go to Europe and let him find out from these other people, other countries who are beginning to realize that they don't want the New World Order anymore. They're all fighting the New World Order. They're all fighting the elite, not just the US. The elite. And maybe he'll wake up. I like the way Ado puts it because he's so outspoken. I enjoy listening to all three of them. I enjoy. Because they're so open. They're so. In Spanish, we have not tienen pelos en la lengua.
Oo nga. Well, sana nga lang yung may nakikinig na, you know, it's frustrating, lalo na for someone. I would imagine for them who have been fighting the fight since for a long time. And me as the next generation who is also getting on, no? That there seems to be no. It seems to be it's getting worse. It's not getting. It never got better. It was getting worse. It seems to be getting worse and worse, and that's a fact of life that we must accept according to them. So that the economics is like that. Inflation is part and parcel. You know, when I just wanted to say something. Yung inflation, hindi naman natural law yan eh. Yung inflation, invento ng mga bankero yan eh. Because inflation only values the money. Inflation has nothing to do with real economics, physical economy. It only has to do with prices. And it's not written in natural law. It's not written in any principle of physical economics, nothing. That there should be inflation or that's inflationary. It's a device that was imposed on us by these central bankers to keep us in line. Don't do too much construction. Don't build too much. That's inflationary. Don't do this. Don't do that. Kailangan we have to keep your accounts in check. Kung hindi, you know. Money became value. But as we saw in Weimar Germany in 1920s, it's not. money is only valuable. Money is only valuable as what you can get for it. The paper, yung hawak niyong 1,000 peso bill or 100 peso bill, pag nag-imprenta na naman sila, na gusto na nila Diokno and the central bankers, they want to devalue na naman and say, print tayo ng bago. From 1,000, may 10,000 peso bill. Or from 500, when I was a kid, hanggang 100 pesos lang. Tapos after Cory, may 500. Tapos may 1,000 na. Ibig sabihin, yung value ng pera natin, bumababa. Okay? And we're not producing more by design, hindi by accident o hindi by natural occurrence. By policy design, hindi na tayo nagpo-produce ng agriculture. Bibili na lang tayo sa labas. Therefore, maghakot tayo ng dolyar para bumili sa labas. Kasi mas mura. Talagang mas mura kung hindi ka nag-umpisa ng agriculture program mo or your energy development program. Mas mura talaga. 'Di ba? Ngayon may naririnig na naman ako, gusto daw ni Marcos to reopen the Bataan nuclear power plant and restart the nuclear program. But where is it? Dribble na naman yan hanggang matapos siya. Yan ang ginawa ni Duterte. Sabi niya, interesado siya, pero hanggang dyan lang siya. Pagkatapos yan, wala na. After 6 years, tapos. In a couple of, in several months, we would have had 1 year of President Marcos. What is there to be proud of?
Nothing.
What has he dismantled? What has he put in place? Ang ginagawa nila, utang ng utang, investment. Hindi naman natin makikita yan kung papasok talaga yan o hindi. Meantime, our other leaders in the Senate and in the other agencies are going against him in policies. They're making sure he cannot function. And he doesn't seem to notice this, or he doesn't have anybody to turn to. Delikado. There are so many developments now happening because pag yung tao nawalan ng faith in government, that's the most dangerous thing. And he never solved the inflation problem. Hindi lang pinapag-usapan ngayon. 'Di ba? He never solved the issues with the DOH. Ano ba talagang policy mo? Will you follow Duque? Policies of Duque, or go opposite? You cannot be in the middle. What about our infrastructure program? What about our how will you fund that? Will you borrow more money? Parang walang national goal. Yung national goal niya, unity. Which means what? It does not mean anything. Diba? So again, going back to this population, the problem is ingrained within government. Pinasukan na ng demonyo yung gobyerno natin. All the agencies are infected by this population thing. It's written in their bylaws, it's written in their, and they've been doing this and implementing it, and they've been making money. And now they're going to push for climate change. These guys, this elite, you'll have to look at the World Economic Forum. Pinupush ngayon nila yung climate change daw causes sickness. So may task force, may meeting sa isang city in London, nakalimutan ko kung ano, a town outside London. Nag-meeting sila na they will prevent people from going out of their houses. They will prevent people from going out of their houses because the more they go out, they're subjecting themselves to climate change. Therefore, magkakasakit. Yan ang itatawid nila sa tao. And dahil yung tao mas interesado sa TikTok at sayaw-sayaw sa TV, susunod na lang sila. Kasi marami pa rin tao ngayon sumusunod-sunod lang sa gobyerno na hindi nagtatanong kung bakit ganyan, bakit ganito yung policy, why don't we change it? Diba? So that is what they're going to try to implement. May tinetesting sila ngayon dyan sa may England. Tignan mo, magiging policy na yan in the next couple years. Yan ang gusto nila mangyari. Unless you fight back. Unless you have a president, it might not be President Marcos, might not be Vice President Sara Duterte. It might be another. But they have to look at the Constitution and see the wisdom of Article 12. How a president, and only a president can do this. If it is a parliament, hindi niya magagawa to. Only a president of a country, directly elected by the people, will be able to implement and act and execute Article 12. Only that. So whether people are trying to suggest or propose different form, it's the policy that counts, not the form of government. It's the policy that matters. So that's what we're going to do. Now, how do we, looking at this, yung population control, population management, there has to be a reversal of everything. There has to be a reversal of an outlook. First, you reverse your outlook, the history, you reverse the outlook of a president and the leadership, or even our friends from the military who have gone to the same schools and the same school of thought, but emphasis on defending the nation. Pero parang hindi sila tinuruan ng tamang economics. They assume that lahat ng economics is correct. Yung free trade, globalization, privatization, deregulation. They assume correct yun kasi yan po yung tinuturo. Yan po ang itinuturo sa mga symposium ng UP School of Economics or LaSalle or sa Ateneo po. Yan mo yung tinuturo eh. Diba? Huwag na natin i-question yan. Question na lang natin yung political policy. Meantime, yung mga bankero at yung mga powerful lobbyists, they still control the economy. Sabi nga ni yung isang bankero na napakayaman, yung pamilya niya, his name is N.M. Rothschild. He's a French banker. Tinanong siya, sino yung sinusuportahan mo para maging hari ng England? Sabi niya, wala akong pakialam kung sinong umupo dyan. I care not who sits on the throne of England, as long as I control England's money. Ganon sila po mag-isip. Sabi niya, basta kontrolado ko yung pera nila, wala akong pakialam kung sinong presidente o sinong hari dyan. Kasi, in other words, kontrolado ko siya kahit sino siya man. Kasi kontrolado ko yung salapi. That's how these guys think. That's why they're imposing this. And to Johnny's point, sabi nga niya, they are imposing this. They're controlling the population. And because they, sabi nga ni, remember si Prince Philip, yung asawa ni Queen Elizabeth. Sabi niya, kailangan dapat mga 1 billion people lang ang population ng mundo.
Grabe.
So kailangan patayin natin through any means necessary. Medicine, hunger, war, sickness, whatever. I-reduce natin yung population to about 1 billion. Okay?
Yeah.
That is the that is the policy that they've wanted to do.
By the way, Itos, meron lang nagtatanong dito, may isa tayong nanonood no, sa ating social media account. Sabi niya, mula kay Emma Orozco, sabi niya, the funds they will generate from the Philippines will be invested abroad instead of setting up businesses and factories here in our country. Mr. Jokno has been in the government service for decades under finance sector, but until now, the peso is losing value. So what has he contributed to the economy? Yan po ang tanong ni Emma.
I think Emma rhetorical. He has not, in other words, rhetorical yung question niya. Ano ba talagang na-contribute ni Jokno? Diba? I think, if that's what I feel, it's right. Kasi, you know, even that, first, that, again, not to, but the value of a currency now, all currencies of the world value are artificial. It's not real. So when you say peso is losing value, it's only because the dollar is losing value. Because we're in a world where the currency becomes a commodity. Again, going back to what economics is. Economics is not money. Economics is not currencies. And that's why Jokno and the rest cannot figure it out. They cannot figure it out. Currencies and money is a means to an end for now. But it doesn't mean you will need, just because you print more money doesn't mean you're richer. Correct? So it's what your economy represents. Again, let's go back to why post-World War II, yung dollar ang naging de facto currency ng mundo. Why everybody wanted the dollar. It is not because the dollar is better looking as a currency. It is not because mas maganda yung print niya. It is because the dollar represents what the American economy currently is and currently can be. So there is trust in that currency. That's why everybody adopted it as a means of exchange. May trust eh. Now, why will you, if you compare after World War II, yung Amerika lang ang pinakamalakas na economy, right? Because during the 1930s, when Franklin Roosevelt specifically came in 1932, he rebuilt the economy of the United States. He rebuilt it, literally rebuilt it, not by money. He didn't borrow money from the bankers. He implemented Hamiltonian policies, yung policies po ni Alexander Hamilton, which means infrastructure, development of infrastructure, giving jobs, building bridges, building factories, building energy systems, providing actual farmland, arable farmland and technology, therefore. He rebuilt it, and that got the American economy moving again. Okay? And then, when he did that, what did he do also? He sanctioned yung mga bankero because they were using the US economy as their piggy bank and using it for speculation. So he enacted the Glass-Steagall law, which means you cannot, which protects the depositor from the speculators in the banks. So hindi nyo pwedeng, pag namatay masama yung investment ng speculator, sila ang malulunod, hindi kayo. Walang bailout. Okay? So that's what he did, and many other things, of course, to put into law. But by the way, you should read about si Perkins, yung kanyang labor secretary, magaling rin yun. Babae po yun. Very good. And she was the one who was very close to Roosevelt in implementing all of these, what Roosevelt wanted. So anyway, that's what he did. And America slowly built up their industrial capability yet again. Pero during his term, yung mga bankero, JP Morgan and many other bankers, wanted him out. Kasi nawawalan sila ng speculation eh. Nawawalan sila ng casino nila eh. Yung kanilang pagtataya ng mga ano. And they were losing control of vital industries because of the rules implemented. And they tried to get him out. They recruited this person who was a general in World War I. Smedley Butler, I think is his name. And they recruited him and they tried to make him the leader of a coup d'etat against Roosevelt. Mag-e-EDSA sila dyan sa may White House. Yan ang gusto mangyari. Eh ito, Smedley Butler, kahit maraming issues and problems in the US at the time, sabi niya, hindi pwede, elected president yan. I will not be. So, binuking niya itong mga to at pinangalan niya yung mga nag-hire sa kanya. Di booking itong mga bankero. Galit na galit sila kay Roosevelt. But he went against the banks. Panoorin niyo po yung speech, yung inauguration speech ni Roosevelt. His first inauguration speech, and he said what he wanted to do to get out the speculators from the U.S. economy and rebuild it with Hamiltonian principles. Okay, so that is where we're looking at now. That's why the dollar po became the most and also ano yung financial system after World War II? It was the Bretton Woods system. It was a fixed exchange rate system. Hindi po yung floating exchange natin ngayon. Nawala ng visa yung pera talaga ngayon. Okay? It was a fixed exchange rate system from 1945 to 1971. That is that whole time. Remember po, when was martial law declared? 72, right? When was the global financial system changed? 72, around that time. When was the population control program implemented? 75. When was the oil price yung oil crisis? 73 or 74? When was first quarter storm dito sa Pilipinas? So all of these things were happening because there was a whole change. The whole globe was undergoing a tremendous shift in how things are governed. This ushered in essentially the new world order. This is what it is. Because now the bankers have full control of your money through the central banking system. Naging value, yung pera, instead of representing what's really valuable, yung pera became valuable. So naging may bagong job description na, I'm a forex trader. Diba? Yan ang nangyayari ngayon. Since forex trader ka, you can make money now on the exchange rate kasi floating eh. So baba at taas yan eh. Kikita ka doon. Yan yun. So this is the kind of economy we've been in since 1971, 1972. There's no value anymore to the money. What's valuable is what the money represents. Now, if President Bongbong Marcos decides the Philippines will undergo a massive infrastructure development program anchored on nuclear power. This is the plan. In the next 6 years, we will build 20 nuclear power plants. We will build massive rail systems connecting all the islands of Mindanao. And around those rail systems, we will build massive agricultural estates where because our goal is to increase our general production of agriculture in all, aquaculture, agriculture, lahat, 10 times in the next 6 years. Tenfold. Now, no matter what the peso externally is trading for, internally, yung mga tao mo, your citizens, will not go hungry. Internally, yung mga citizens mo will still enjoy electricity. Internally, you can develop, go on the countryside and give electricity to the corners of the Philippines. Also, you have enough baseload energy to start maybe putting up steel plants again, maybe petrochemical plants, and all the attached industries around that. Now, suddenly, your peso is actually strong. And whatever they dictate now, yung mga World Bank, IMF, and these bankers, they will not dictate to you what the value is. Internally, alam mo. Internally, yung mga tao ko, okay. Kasi it's what the intent, the currency value should represent what the intention of the country is, period. What they want to become. Not what, you print more or casino economy, hindi yung ganon. It's the intention. Anong gustong gawin sa country mo? And that's the best fight against the banker-imposed inflation. The concept of inflation. That's the best fight against that because you're actually producing things that people need. You're making yourself stronger. Remember, going back to Roosevelt. Pagdating ng World War II, the Allies were able to defeat yung si Hitler at yung Japan is the United States was producing how many tanks a day, how many planes a day. Produce lang sila ng produce. Lahat ng car factories nila, ni-retool nila pang jeep, pang tanks, pang weapons. They were the number one producer in the world of industrial producer. And they just kept producing. So, nahirapan yung they couldn't sustain a long-term war against America. That was their power. And after World War II, they retooled that again to go back to producing cars and appliances and everything. They were the strongest economy after World War II because of their productive power. It's not how many people are working. It's what they're producing with the work they put in. That's valuable. That's a productive power of labor. Yun ang dapat. That's what our leadership should aspire, at least aspire to create in our economy. And the value of our peso naturally will be stronger. And it won't matter what the central bankers say the real value is. Kasi tayo dito, we can feed our own people. We can export machinery. We will be able to export science and technology, medical innovation, because we have all of this baseload energy already. But unless you have that plan, a blueprint, a blueprint for a future which involves infrastructure and development. Si Alexander Hamilton po, siya yung first US Secretary of the Treasury. Ang tinatawag niya, internal improvements, what they termed now as infrastructure. But his term was internal improvements. Ibig sabihin, when they won their Revolutionary War against Britain, they began to look at the state of their economy. Ano ba yung kulang natin? Ano kailangan natin i-develop? And they were very protectionist. Remember this, protectionist po sila. So when people say protectionism is a bad word, I tend not to believe them because all the biggest nations have developed through protectionist policies, even if they advocate free trade, right? Because you have to develop, you have to give your economy and your country a chance to develop its own industry and get better at it. That's what Japan did. That's what the US did. So that's that's my reaction to that. Oh, definitely Diokno, and like I said, everybody trained in the modern school of economics has no idea. They will not have any other solution except to tweak fiscal and monetary policy kasi yun lang ang alam nila. But to transform an economy, you need to look back further. You need to look to Alexander Hamilton and Abraham Lincoln and President Franklin Roosevelt. It's been done and kaya natin gawin ulit. With or without the loans from international banks or creating a fund to speculate in the stock market. Okay, Kat.
Okay. Gusto ko lang po i-recognize yung mga kasama natin dito sa Zoom. Of course, nandyan si Ma'am Connie Valdes, si Giancarlo Iway, mula sa Cagayan de Oro, si Geoffrey Balse, and Johnny Ventosa. Yan. At si Police Master Sergeant, nakita ko kanina, no, si Villanueva. At merong ibang mga comments o messages po mula sa chat. Sabi ni Connie Valdes, Itos, you are correct. I just had a discussion with my brothers in Canlubang and they agree with you and Butch. Ray, your information on issues like power, food supply, etc. Butch said it's right. We need a leader. At mula pa rin sa kanya, sabi niya, restoration calls, however, not for changes in ethics alone. This nation asks for action and action now. Franklin Roosevelt inaugural speech. Yan po. Our greatest primary task is to put people to work. This is no unsolvable problem if we face it wisely and courageously. It can be accomplished in part by direct recruiting by the government itself, treating the task as we would treat the emergency of a war, but at the same time, through this employment, accomplishing greatly needed projects to stimulate and reorganize the use of our natural resources. Mula kay Franklin Roosevelt din po yan. Yan po ang mensahe, comment ni Connie Valdes mula sa Zoom. Kanina parang nakikita ko, si Carlo yata mukhang nagtataas kanina ng kamay. Meron pa yatang message. Meron pa ba? Ayan. Okay. By the way, no, it's already 8:19 na po ng gabi at kayo po ay nanonood pa rin sa pamamagitan po ng social media account ng Katipunan Channel at sabayan niyo po kami napapakinggan sa pamamagitan po ng RMN DZXL 558 sa talapitan po ng inyong mga radyo. At Carlo, kanina may tanong, nagtaas ka ba ng kamay? Pero sabi nga, may nagpapatanong dito, kung nakarating dito ang idea ni Franklin Roosevelt, idea ni Alexander Hamilton, yung economics ideal nila, kung may proponent dito sa Pilipinas. Nako, may katulad ba? Dito sa Pilipinas, Sir Itos? Wish ko lang na merong ganon.
Ano yung question ulit?
Ang tanong kasi kung nakarating dito yung idea daw ni Franklin Roosevelt, idea ni Alexander Hamilton, yung mga economics idea ba na meron sila kung may proponent dito sa Pilipinas?
I wanted to address that. No, alam ni Verto, I think, and then we can share the article of John Morris about the networks of Franklin Roosevelt after World War II na nandito sa Pilipinas. Namely, a guy named Salvador Araneta, okay, na who was pushing for a similar infrastructure development and banking like a Glass-Steagall for us to protect us. Yun po yung mga networks ni Franklin Roosevelt dito. I think Ver can post the article on the Katipunan Facebook para ma-share and you can download this. It's a very nice article actually about the circles of Franklin Roosevelt in the Philippines post-World War II. Alam niyo po kasi, ganito yan, maraming kalaban po si Franklin Roosevelt before his presidency, during, and then after. And principal na kalaban niya ay yung British royal family, the British Empire. Kasi po, ang British Empire, they wanted to retain their colonies after World War II. And si Franklin Roosevelt wanted to say, no, dapat everybody should be given the same American system of governance. Ibig sabihin, presidential, magboto sila ang kanilang leader. Ayaw ng British. And British was represented, the British leadership was represented by Winston Churchill, the Prime Minister. And there is a book by Franklin Roosevelt's son, Elliot, called As He Saw It. And this details yung conversations ni Churchill at ni Roosevelt during the war. Kung nagmi-meeting silang dalawa lang. And si Roosevelt nag-aaway talaga sila. Pero alam niya kasi, mas malakas silang bansa. So hindi siya takot sa British. Yung British, sinasabi nila, we're fighting this war not to let go of our colonies. And sabi naman ni Franklin Roosevelt kay Churchill, sabi niya, why are we fighting against a fascist power only to give you back your colonies, to be oppressed again? So sabi niya, so galit na galit si Churchill, alis siya, medyo lasing na si Churchill daw. Tapos sabi niya sa anak niya, mas malaki yung problema ng British after the war than Hitler ngayon. Kasi si Hitler natalo na natin. Pero mas delikado itong mga British because he knew what they represented. This is a banking and financial power, not a military power anymore. But Roosevelt in the US was the sole superpower after World War II. Siya lang talaga. And you had a president like Roosevelt. Imagine, siya lang yung pinakamalakas na bansa sa buong mundo after World War II. And it wasn't perfect, but imagine kung hindi si Roosevelt yung head noon. Nangyari nga, by 1945, namatay na si Roosevelt. Ang pumalit, si Harry Truman, yun, loko yun. So he was more friendly to the British line. Kaya lahat ng policy ni Roosevelt in all countries that he was trying to seed, to plant in all countries, tinanggal nila. And part of that, ayan yung picture As He Saw It. I don't know kung available yan dito or online that you can reprint. Pero valuable po yan, As He Saw It. It gives you a sense, lahat kasi ng mga libro after World War II, they always celebrate the quote-unquote special relationship of Britain and the US. Friends daw sila. At lahat ng pictures makita mo, kasi they're from the same bloodline daw. Kasi yung mga England pumunta sa US, di ba? Tapos nagka-revolution lang ng konti, pero friends pa rin tayo. Kapamilya pa rin daw sila. But Roosevelt is if you read more on Roosevelt, his original works, when he was growing up, he ayaw niya yung British. He hated Queen Elizabeth. He hated Queen Victoria at the time. Talagang ayaw niya, naiinis siya kasi what America represents is directly opposed to what monarchy and oligarchy represent. That's what the true essence of the United States of America is. Against this monarchy, empire. Dapat, kung patriotiko kasi sinasabi mo, hate na hate mo yun. Kaya ako, sinasabi ko na ngayon, hate na hate ko yung mga British royal family, yung mga anything that has to do with colonial times na empire, pati yung Spain colonizing us, hate na hate ko yun. Because the thinking and the principle is that there is a thinking of a monarchy and a colonial power and a empire is that there are the elites and there are the rest that are supposed to serve the elites. Hindi sila nag-iisip na everybody created in the image and likeness of a creator, are endowed with life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Ayaw nila maniwala dyan. Hindi pwede kasi sila yung special eh. Sila yung ordained by God to be king and queen. Iba yung philosophy nila. Kaya ako, hate na hate ko yung mga ganyan pag-iisip. Kaya ayoko yung mga Prince Charles, yung mga ganyan. Ayoko, wala akong pakialam sa kanila. They represent bakit yung humanity is in this state today. That's why hate na hate natin sila. And that concept of empire. Doon ako sa kabila. Where man is endowed with a creative reason. And therefore is sovereign and free. That's where I put myself in. Yun lang, Kat. Sige.
Okay, tawag dito, Carlo EY, ang sunod na magsasalita, magtatanong. Carlo? Carlo? Sana si Carlo? Wala na siya. Carlo EY. Okay, anyway. It's 8:28 na po ng gabi at syempre kayo po ay nakikinig dito pa rin sa ating Katipunan with Itos Valdes and mga kasama po natin sa Zoom. Minus ang tunay na bida ng palatuntunang ito si Professor Butch Valdes. At merong message lang dito, no? Sabi ni Connie Valdes, quote-unquote, we propose that upon a reversal of our economic policy subsequently geared towards agro-industrial development, all other departments which comprise the cabinet must likewise immediately adjust to these directions, specifically in education, agriculture, health, public works, transportation, energy, and water, should be fully coordinated like a symphony under the baton of the president. The dissonant ones will be necessarily expelled. Yan ang sabi ni KDP Chairman Butch Valdes. Yan. Okay, Carlo, may tanong ka, Carlo, kay Itos.
Meron na akong gusto sa lahat ng mga Pilipino, may panawagan ng po ako nagkain sa tayo at magdasal para sa natin kababayan po. Message ko lang po sa lahat, Merry Christmas po sa inyong lahat na nasa inyong sangga dito at sa ating mga kasama sa KDP po. Yun po muna.
Okay, Carlo. Gusto ko lang i-share itong binigay sa atin ni Ver, the FDR tradition in Philippines. Pwede niyong bisitahin itong archive.schiller.com/edu/hist/Araneta. Yung kaninang kay Salvador Araneta siguro ito, no? At yan na, naka-pin daw dun sa post sa Facebook at YouTube ng Katipunan Channel. So pakibisita nyo na lang po yan para mabasa nyo. I remember maraming ng writings din itong si Salvador Araneta, na maganda para sa sa bansa natin. But anyway, 8:30 na po ng gabi at syempre tayo po ay sabayan pa rin po tayong napapakinggan sa pamamagitan po ng ating mga social media accounts, at sa pamamagitan po ng Radyo RMN DZXL. In a while ay gusto ko lang i-recognize ulit, mukhang nadagdagan ba tayo? Okay. Yan, si Connie Valdes, Giancarlo EY, Geoffrey Balse, Si Jeffrey parang hindi siya nagtatanong sa atin ngayon. Ito, sabi ni Jeffrey Balse, there were two quote-unquote economic miracles at the turn of the 20th century siguro to o CE. Japan that transformed from a medieval economy to the British counterpart in the Pacific and Australia, whose per capita income exceeded its colonizer in 1900. Yan ang sabi niya. At sino pa ba to? Nasaan mukhang wala na pala, nag-out na pala si police, Master Sergeant, no? Villanueva. Dagdag pa ni Jeffrey Balse, sabi niyang ganon, they had similar economic strategies, but Australia did not pursue a military imperialist ambitions. Oh, I see. Okay. At syempre, Sir Itos, mukhang meron tayong nagtatanong lang yung ating mga kababayan Sabing ganon, kung katulad niyan yung population commission and development na itinatag noong 1967, and obviously mukhang nagkaroon siya ng mandato sa lahat ng ahensya ng ating pamahalaan. Paano mo ngayon lalabanan yung mga ganyan na pro-depopulation sa Itos?
Actually, yung mga to, in 1967, under nag-sign yung 17 nations under a proposal of the UN. Okay? Kasama na tayo dyan under Marcos, no? But that can also be reversed by a president, right? So it is not yung delikado dyan kasi I don't know yet kung yung sa batas po natin nakalagay na yung depopulation. Right? Okay, iba yun eh. Pero ito, these are all, and then the agencies adopt it. Kasi yung president, yung executive, right? So he makes things work. He makes the policies work. So he's the leader nga. Kasi sabihin niya sa Department of Health, ito yung policy natin, ito yung execute mo, ito yung gagawin natin. Now, if everybody supports, kaya nagkaganyan and it became ingrained in all of our agencies na, yung mandates, it's because the past presidents since Marcos also have supported it. Right? So strengthen. When they do that, they get, of course, what's not said is they get yung attached aid through USAID, through mga NGOs, through the financing. So the more they put it together, the more they strengthen it, yung mga population management programs, mas marami tayong makuha budget from abroad. But that can easily be reversed as a policy by the president. So the president can just say, this is the policy already. We are going to be a policy not of population, not of depopulation, but of repopulation. Diba? Gusto kong padamihan yung tao natin sa bansa. Why? Because we can. How? Ito yung gagawin natin. We will invest. The government will build 20 nuclear power plants over 10 years. Be natin. Why? Because we need a baseload energy of X amount. Because why this much energy? Because compared to China and the US, we are lagging behind. Right? So we have to build this. So kayang gawin yan. Kayang gawin. And it will improve the economy. We'll have more jobs. Even more countries and companies will want to invest in the Philippines. Kasi alam nila pag may nuclear power, you know why there's no real investment in the countryside? Walang power eh. Walang electricity eh. Tapos yung intermittent yung electricity. Sabi nga ni Chis Escudero, yung solution niya, lalagay ng iba't ibang mga generator dyan sa probinsya para pag nawala yung electricity. Diba? See? So it's ano, it's not a, you have to look at it from that standpoint. Bakit yung mga first world countries, they're going heavily into nuclear? Look at France. Now they're considering reopening more nuclear power plants. Look at Germany. They regretted it. They shut it down. Now they're in trouble. Okay? So tapos our Southeast Asian neighbors want nuclear power. They know it's a technology. They know we need the technology to be industrialized. Kaya nga na ano kay Duterte, parang kulang sayang hindi niya nagawa eh.
Oh.
Diba? So I mean hindi niya nagawa yung kaya niyang gawin because he enjoyed the popularity, the support of the people. If he didn't, and kahit yung mga legislators ayaw siya, kasi itong mga legislators, bayad yan eh, di ba? He doesn't have to go through them. By executive order, we will do this. And the people and the military will support him. But this president we have now does not enjoy that. Sadly. Yun lang, Kat.
Anyway, no, Sir Ito, sabi pa rin ni Jeffrey Valdes, sabi niya, Australians are skeptical towards nuclear power because our nation will be the favorite dumping ground of nuclear waste. FYI, sabi niya ganon. So, ang concern daw niya over the power sector is the domination by cartels. Yan po ang sabi ni Jeffrey Valdes.
Yeah, yun na nga. Definitely. Take out the cartels by imposing Article 12.
Yeah.
Government takes it back and reorganize it accordingly. The reason these things are there is because it was not organized properly. Since the EPIRA, everybody started to do their own thing. They were free to earn money off the backs of Filipino. And yet they're charging us higher. They're charging us higher from the same quality of 1 watt of electricity. Pag nabukas ka ba ng ilaw, pag umakyat ba yung electricity bill mo, pag binuksan mo yung ilaw mo, may music? 'Di ba? Sumasayaw ba yung light bulb mo? Hindi naman, pareho lang 'yan eh. 'Di ba? So it's obviously kumikita sila. And lahat sila part of the same sickness. So it needs to be reorganized again. And it's possible because it's been done before. Hindi tayo nag-iisip na milagro. Nagawa na eh. With less technology pa, nagawa na eh. Gagawin mo lang. Yung tama.
Eh kaso mo nga, walang courage eh. Diba, Sir Itos? But anyway, no, gusto ko lang makita or siguro makuha yung reaction mo din, Sir Itos. Kasi last December 5 to 9, last week, ay Atomic Energy Week. At isa sa naging tampok na panauhin ay ang ambassador ng Denmark. So ang tanong ko lang, Sir Itos, kasi I understand na itong ang Denmark ay, correct me if I'm wrong na sila ay nag-i-import at hindi gumagawa ng nuclear energy ayon dun sa 1985 na batas na pinasa ng Danish Parliament na nagbabawal ng produksyon ng kuryente mula sa nuclear energy sa Denmark. Pero ang problema, itong Denmark ay nagpapanatili at potensyal na paggamit ng mga sandatang nuclear ang ini-endorso nito sa iba't ibang pahayag ng alyansa ng North Atlantic Treaty Organization o yung NATO kung saan miyembro mismo ang Denmark. So ako lang, personally, nagtataka ako bakit naging tampok na panauhin sa Atomic Energy Week etong ambassador ng Denmark, gayong hindi siya naniniwala sa mabuting magagawa ng nuclear energy sa ating bansa.
Put it this way, ha. I'll put it in a similar context. When Franklin Delano Roosevelt organized the Bretton Woods system, right, in New Hampshire, Bretton Woods, 1944 to 45. Well, they were parang habang nagmi-meeting sila, yung mga heads and representatives ng mga ibang nation, including Britain and Japan and all of those, not Japan, other nations, hammering out ano ba talagang magandang sistema. Ang pinasok ni Britain, ni England, this economist that was directly opposed to Franklin Roosevelt. Pinasok siya doon. I keep forgetting his name. He's a famous economist, Britain, from English economist. And he was put there, okay, para lang guluhin. Para guluhin yung usapan. At siguraduhin na yung interest, yun, tama, John Maynard Keynes. Thank you, Bear. John Maynard Keynes, siya yung pinasok dyan, pero he is directly opposed to any Bretton Woods style of agreement. Kasi ang role niya is to make sure ma-push yung British interest, which is free trade and colony. So, yun ang sagot ko sa mo, bakit nandyan siya kung hindi naman siya ganyan. Pinasok siya dyan to make sure that their own interests and the interests of these guys are taken care of at guluhin yung usapan. Okay? I think, personally,
Grabe, no? Grabe maniobra. Anyway, dagdagan ko lang yung message pa ni Jeffrey Valdes. Sabi niya, yet PBBM appoints Popo Lutilia, the genius, quote-unquote, behind IPIRA. Sabi niya, as an Australian, wag naman gawin basurahan ng nuclear waste ng depleted uranium ang Australia. No countries wants to be a dumping ground of depleted uranium. Nakikiusap ako on behalf of the Aboriginal Australians who will be affected by this system as currently practiced. Yan ang sabi niya. At sa ilang sandali, no, it's 8:43 na po ng gabi, ay magbabasa po tayo ng ating mga komento mula sa mga social media accounts po natin. At meron bang mga text? Ayan. Maaari po kayong magpadala. Please comment lang po sa ating mga social media account. Please like, share, and subscribe na rin po ang aming pong mga Facebook page at YouTube account. Bahagian nyo rin po kahit po mga kaaway ninyo para at least alam nila na meron po tayong ganitong klase ng palatuntunan. At syempre, tayo po ay sabayan din pong napapakinggan sa pamagitan po ng radyo RMN Dizexel 558 sa talapitan po ng inyong mga radyo. Marami po tayong mga kababayan na nakikinig mula sa iba't ibang panig po ng mundo, sa Cayman Island, of course, at syempre dito yung mga suki natin mula sa Mindanao. At happy listening lang po sa ating mga kababayan mula dyan sa Bicol, sa Camarines Sur, at syempre mula sa Makati. Nako, ayun, nagme-message po sila sa atin. Maraming salamat po. At yun, sa susunod daw papasok sila sa ating madali nyo pong makikita, no, yung ating pong Zoom link po, o kung hindi man po yung kung paano po kayo makakapasok every Sunday po dito sa ating Ask Butch Valdes, no, dito sa ating palatuntunan ng ating Katipunan. At pwede magtanong po kayo kay Professor Butch o kay Itos nung mga alam nyo pong matitinding issue po ng ating bansa na apektado po tayong lahat. Yan. Importante po yan na kinakailangan maging aware tayo. Mahirap na yung walang alam. Hindi po ba? Sir Johnny, baka meron ka pang itatanong kay Itos o si Carlo. Si Carlo ba nandyan pa? Carlo Iway? Nandyan ka pa ba, Carlo? Of course, nandyan pa si Carlo. Yan. Carlo, baka may itatanong ka kay Itos bago tayo magbasa ng ating mga comment.
Hopefully, sa Sunday, mabasa niyo itong sa Twitter, no? Para at least magkaroon kayo ng kaalaman sa mga pangyayari ngayon sa ating sa Twitter. Kasi iba pang mga social media sites. Kung ano talaga ang mga nangyayari ngayon. May na-post akong link yan, ha? Ano?
Okay.
Yung tungkol sa bakita sa Twitter.
Tungkol ba saan ito?
Sa mga in-expose na files kasi na problemado ang Twitter.
Siguro ito ay pwede nating pag-usapan sa susunod na linggo, Carlo. Kasi konti na lang ang panahon natin, 13 na lang ang ating pagka nag-discuss pa tayo ng iba. Ito yung pinadala sa atin ng ating sabi ni Ma'am Connie, ayan, hashtag ang ating Katipunan, Sunday 7 to 9 ng gabi. Ayan po, meeting ID po natin 853-5995-7439 at ang passcode ay AAK, all caps po. So tandaan nyo na lang po yan at maaari po tayong makilahok sa ating pong talakayan. May isa pang binanggit si Jeffrey Valdes. I would suggest to make the next topic the Sovereign Wealth Fund. The original idea is based on the economic strategies of Meiji Japan, pre-Commonwealth Australia and New Zealand, and Sun Yat-sen's national thought. Nako, yan ang suggestion ni Jeffrey Valdes. Yan, tama. Okay, Carlo, sige. Next Sunday natin yan, i-share natin kay Sir Itos at kung ano man yung kanyang sasabihin, no, ng ating tatalakayin. At sabi rin ni Connie Valdes, I agree with Jeffrey. Please discuss in details the pros and cons of the sovereign funds. Nako, mainit ang talakayan to next week. Sana nandito na rin si Professor Butch Valdes at tayo po ay magbabasa na ng ating mga text messages.
Teka. Ako mahihirit ako dyan.
Okay.
Basta ganito lang yung sovereign wealth fund. There are better ways to grow an economy. Okay? Than to get the monies of government agencies and put in investments that the people are so unaware of. Okay? And give it into the hands of fund managers that only care about making money. There are better ways to build an economy than that. So that should not even be. But definitely, if they want to talk about a sovereign wealth fund or a money again as a commodity, then definitely next week, of course, we can talk about that. I'm sure Chairman would like to give his 2 cents also on that.
Okay, nag-react si Connie Valdes. Correct, Itos. Many will watching if you discuss this topic. At sabi ni Jeffrey Valdes, sadly, the idea has deteriorated to become a state-owned and operated hedge fund. Australia's idea was in Commonwealth Bank of Australia. Okay, it's time to read the text messages sent by our listeners. Their opinion does not necessarily reflect our own, but we reserve the right to read them to the public in the interest of freedom of speech. Okay? Our first text. Nako, si Luis, ang ating suki, ang ating katropa. Good evening po, Sir Itos and Ma'am Kath. Ibinubulgar ngayon ang kasamaan ng Twitter sa pag-censor ng mga American conservatives at netizens kung saan nagsasabi sila ng totoo po. Ito yung time na hindi pa nakaupo si Musk. Kaya asahan na maglalabas pa sila ng katotohanan ukol sa naturang plataforma. Mula pa rin kay Philip Doliete, good evening, Katipunan Channel. At sabi ni Emilia Manaloto, that's not true. I live here in London. Sabi ni Emilia, nako, ano kaya yung sinasabi? At mula kay Manchus John Dreff, hi po, good morning here in Manitoba, Canada. Nako, salamat naman John. At mula kay Freddy Oredina, sabi niya Malthus, population grows geometrically while resources grows arithmetically. At mula kay Halix, family limits to growth, selection of who to leave, and reduction of useless, unproductive eaters. At mula naman, ano ba to? Sabi niya, Darwin, survival of the fittest. Oo nga, Charles Darwin. At sabi ni Jinky Bill, hello po, a viewer from Germany and now taking my vacation here in the Philippines. Nako, thank you, Jinky Bill. At sana makalahok ka sa ating Zoom no next Sunday. At mula kay Jerry Chua, sabi niya, good evening everyone. May dapat ba i-refund ang Meralco o mga power producer worth 3 million o 3 trillion peso? Bakit di pinaglalaban ng consumer at silent lang mainstream media? Di ba dapat may makasuhan na? Yan, sabi ni Jerry Chua. At sabi ni Consuelo Gomez Valdes, of course, watching, at kay Enet Garcia, window dressing of economy. Yan ang sabi niya. At sabi ni Jose Aquino, wala na bang magagawa ang ating Pangulo sa pagtaas ng kuryente at tubig? Di na namin matiis lahat ng mga pasakit na mga ito. Lahat ng paliwanag nila, di namin maintindihan. Parehas tayo, Bang Jose. At sabi ng Chu family, marami kasi ang ayaw sa Marcos kasi ang mga hangad nila ay sila ang maupo para tuloy ang pagbagsak ng bansa at patuloy sila sa pagsasamantala. Sabi pa niya, unity, tama yun, pero magkakaisa ba? Ang daming kontra. Pumalit man sila ay puro pagnanakaw lang ang hangad. Walang planong mabuti para sa bansa. At si Romeo Bono naman, watching from Bicol. Thank you, Mang Romeo. At kay Cesar Soberano, sabi niya ganon, did BBM know that his idol Kissinger was an avowed populist when he met the U.S. politician during his visit to Washington, D.C. just months ago? BBM called him his idol. Nako, mukhang di nga niya naintindihan. What could be meaning? Nakikiisa kaya siya? At mula kay Alicia Ingracia, the Philippines is listed in the Washington D.C. Stock Exchange. Why is that? Mula kay Ferdinand Galimba, Ferdinand E. Marcos, FEM, sabi niya. At mula kay Andres Sakay Afloro, gandang gabi, ma'am, sir. At mula kay Matter, bobo talaga si Bongbong. 1986 pa si Jokno sa Cory Yeltard regime. 40 years na binobobo Pilipino through the IMF World Bank. 148 banks refuse credit to Ferdinand Marcos, Edralyn Marcos. Yan. At sabi pa niya, nanakawin nila yung 250 billion plus billions o kunwari invest din, nalugi sa stock market. Pero ibubulsa nila yan. Bobo kayo, Sanjo Marcos at Martin Romualdez. Pera ng taong bayan yan. Hindi pera ni Sandro. Yan ang ilan sa mga text. At sabi ni Amparo Consuelo, inunahan ang gobyerno na mag-invest sa tubig, kuryente, toll roads at internet. Nako. At sabi naman ni Jeffrey sa ating Zoom, no? Botswana that organized in quote-unquote SWF and grew from the second poorest country in the world and overtook the Philippines in 1972 and South Africa in 1998 and currently has a per capita GDP on the level of Malaysia. Yan ang sabi. Sabi ni Ma'am Connie, thank you, Cathy. Mabuhay ka. Thank you, Ma'am Connie, the beautiful one. At of course, 8:55 na po ng gabi, Sir Itos. Baka meron ka pang mensahe na gustong ibahagi sa ating mga kababayan. Sir Itos?
Hindi lang. Thank you sa lahat ng who came on the Zoom. Sana'y dumami pa yung ating tribo dito sa ating Katipunan, di ba? So we can reach more people. And remember po, an informed electorate is the bedrock of any republic and any democratic republic. So we need to keep talking about these issues hanggang makinig sila sa atin. Thank you po sa lahat ng bumisita tonight and we'll see you next week.
Okay. maraming salamat po sa lahat po ng mga nanood. But habang tayo po ay tuluyang nagpapaalam, ay pasalamatan lang po natin ang ating mga technician mula sa RMN DZXL, sa ating pong himpilan, kila Cruz, of course, at kay Ver Archivido, no? Na lagi pong nakaalalay po sa atin. At syempre, oras na po para tayo ay magpaalam. Yan. Sa ngalan po ng ating mga katipon dito sa ating Katipunan at sa magagaling na staff ng DZXL Radyo Mo Nationwide. Kami po ay pansamantalang nagpapaalam at nagpapasalamat na sinamahan ninyo kami ngayon, ang Hora de Peligro ng ating bayan at ng buong mundo. Dito sa ating Katipunan. Hanggang sa linggo pong muli, mga katipon, alas 7 hanggang alas 9 po ng gabi. Magandang gabi po sa ating lahat. Bye everyone.